I'm just trying to connect these two worlds for people who are looking to read, and people who actually can write or should write or have written. Yeah. So by connecting these two worlds, I'm hoping that we can help authors. As my main aim is to help them build a fan base.
This is the Mooncast.
Dude, yesterday, that storytelling.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I was literally clapping in my head like. How long did it take you to get it down packed like that? Like, is that just something that you've just been doing over the course of time?
No. That's something I've been doing over the years, man. You've got to understand, in your team, you've got to have someone who's really good at storytelling. Okay, because
yeah.
Man, you can hook people. All right.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's crazy is that
Mhm.
because I came on to because I'm building like Fast Track.
Yeah.
And I came on a bit later, but we uniformly decided to like make me the CEO, even though I actually have less shares in the company.
Yeah. That's all right, man.
But
I'm sure you know why you're doing it.
Yeah, I think it's a storytelling element of it. And I think, like you said, it's super important to be able to tell the right story to vividly help the investors understand what it is that they're getting into, because a lot of them don't even care really about what industry it is. They just want to know if you can make them money.
Spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're Bosnian, because
No,
my
Albanian.
oh, so you're Albanian, but you grew up in Bosnia?
No, I grew up in Kosovo, which is
Oh,
part
Kosovo.
of, let's say, it was part of something called former Yugoslavia. But now they're all independent states. So you have Kosovo, Bosnia, Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Macedonia,
Yeah.
Montenegro.
How is it in Albania?
It's a great place, man. It's a great holiday destination. Okay,
I want to go check it out.
Last summer, I actually holidayed with my kids in Albania in a place called Sarand, which is opposite Corfu in Greece. Literally, you can swim to Corfu from Sarand if you're a good swimmer, and it's a fab place. Great weather, great food. Prices are really, really attractive.
Yeah, actually, you know what's funny, bro? I was actually looking at Albania like yesterday with my girl, because actually my girlfriend's Bulgarian.
Oh, right. Was that the lady next to you?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was the lady
okay,
next
nice.
to me.
Well,
Yeah, things are getting pretty serious. So,
That's good, man. Have you been to Bulgaria?
dude, I actually live there.
You live in Bulgaria?
Yeah. Dude, the tax is 10% corporate tax. The beach is nice. It's cheap. Of course, I live in Bulgaria, man. And like my best friend is actually Croatian. And so I'm super, dude, I'm super actually, to be completely honest with you, bro, like there's so much synergies actually that I noticed between Eastern Europeans and actually Africans that I didn't really was aware of until I met my Croatian best friend. And then I started dating like my girlfriend's Bulgarian. And there's a lot of synergies. Like I was like, man, I can't think off the top of my head currently right now. For some reason, I'm like getting like a little bit of a brain fart because it's really though a lot of different similarities in how we operate. Things are a little bit more normal on the Eastern Bloc too, as well. You don't see as many like crazies and stuff like that like you see in the West, and so there's a couple things though that I would say that I wish that they would work on in Bulgaria. One of them specifically is just the fact that a lot of people are leaving because it's just better pay in the West, and so
sure.
another way that there's go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. I mean, I've been to Bulgaria many times, mainly for work, really. But it's a great place, and it's a shame that people do leave for a better pay, for a better salary. But I have got some friends right now in Sofia, and are doing amazing jobs, man. The job creation is on the rise. better pay is on the rise, and so on and so forth. Because ultimately, listen, I mean, I come from Kosovo. I've been here for a long time, but you when you go home, it feels like home. All right.
Yeah.
There's no place like it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you so basically I'm trying to figure out, so you've Albania until what age, and then when was it in
So
Kosovo?
I left when I was 17.
Okay. Okay. And then Kosovo from what age until when?
So no, that's what I'm saying. I was born in Kosovo, and I
Yeah.
left Kosovo when I was 17. I came to UK.
Okay, okay. Yeah, man, so walk me through like how that experience was like for you, man. Like, were you scared like coming to the
Oh.
UK?
All right. Well, that's now you're taking me back so many years.
Yeah, yeah,
Now the point is, I left because of the war. Okay, there was
yeah,
let's say a level of war going on, but it wasn't full scale to attract international attention. Yeah, and it just like day by day, it was just getting worse. So I managed, like I said, I managed to sell something, buy myself a ticket, and then come here. But I came here because I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go there, study. The war is finished. I'm just going to go back, and then here I am. Many years later, I'm still here.
yeah,
But this has become my second home because this is where I met my wife. We have 2 kids, and this is home now, and so on. But I think for me, I think it's okay. Sometimes you can consider yourself lucky if you come from another part and then you create a life somewhere else. You can call it home here, home there, because when I'm there, that's where I was born. The roots are there. When I'm here, my kids were born here, and it's just it's this is where the home is. But yeah, was I scared? Yeah, man. I mean, it's 17. This was the first time I actually went anywhere abroad.
yeah,
Um, and coming here, finding your feet, it's never easy. But
yeah,
I was always driven to achieve, driven
yeah,
to succeed. I mean, success can be many different things. Most people associate it with money, but I think it's not always true. Success can be uh, something that you want to achieve, something that you desire to achieve, and it can be, I don't know, it can be a job, it can be a car of a particular brand that you really like, or something like that. It can be a degree, it can be a girlfriend, it can be love, whatever it is. That's success is in many forms. um,
yeah,
but I think when it comes to business, I've always been, as I said, driven to succeed, because I always sit here and think I can do it. All right, that's my motto in life. When I see something, I wouldn't go and become a lawyer or a doctor, because I don't have any, let's say, training or understanding or passion for these things. These things are very important. They surround us and so on. But what matters to me the most is finding what you're really good at. And if you can spot what you're really good at very early in your life, I think that's what is also considered success. Because as I said, what I do today, I can still boil it down to the very same thing that I used to do when I was young. Okay,
yeah.
and I'm really good at
Commercializing a product, right?
correct.
Yeah,
But most important, it starts with being able to connect with people. Yeah, because I think what matters the most is you have to. It's a natural thing. Whatever, when you see what you see, it's not fake. This is how I talk to you, to whoever I meet. But actually, maybe this is the reason why you and I are having this podcast right now, because we met through a text introduction, maybe couple of weeks ago, and then yesterday you got to see my founder story at Dojo, and then here we are. We're chatting about work life and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a skill. And I think everybody in my life, everybody that I've seen so far has a skill, and some people are able to identify that. Some people, let's say, perhaps struggle to identify what they're good at because they're looking in too many different directions. And honestly,
Yeah.
you can find what you're good at very simply in some very simple things.
Absolutely, man. And it's crazy because you left at 17 to go to England. And what's funny is that we have very similar stories, kind of,
Yeah.
because I can relate to your story a bit because at 19, I left the US and joined the United States Army. And I ended up going to war like shortly after. Like,
What?
so I got, yeah, it was absolutely insane. So it was literally I was 19. Then I got done with boot camp. Then I went to advanced individual training, and then like 3 months later, I was on a plane to Afghanistan. And so,
Oh my word.
yeah, man. So I could
That's
definitely
why I'm
relate
at,
to you.
but I hope you can see when I was meeting people who have been into a war zone. I mean, sadly, I escaped a war zone, but it wasn't
Yeah,
a war that I could fight anyway. But
yeah.
when I meet people who have actually experienced war, for me, it's a very, very special respect.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and I promised myself that I would not change who I was as a person. I would always remain the same. Like before I joined the army, and then after I got out, I didn't want that to affect my like daily life, like with the stuff that I saw. But it really grew my perspective as a person in my life, and I was able to have a more broad and open perspective, holistic viewpoint on life because I was looking at stuff a lot more narrow.
Mhm.
And even like I was talking to somebody else too about the aspects of like right and wrong and how I think it's very nuanced. Because I'll give you an example, right?
Mhm.
Me and my brothers, we were there was a point in time where we were really, really starving and hungry and like really, really poor in Atlanta. And uh, to not get to a point of starvation, we decided to get together and we were stealing at gas stations, to be completely honest with you. And so, was it wrong? Yes, but do we need to survive?
Mhm.
Yes. So at some point, what then is right and what then is wrong? I don't know. I don't know what you would have done. I don't know what someone else would have done. What's the right or wrong answer?
Well, as I say, it's very sad for me to hear something like that,
Yeah.
especially that you come from one of the most powerful nations in the world. Uh, you know, and you think these things don't happen anywhere. They happen here, they happen in US, they happen everywhere, I guess, and so on.
Absolutely.
But I think, listen, but I don't know how old you must have been, but things do drive you sometimes to do some, let's say, silly things. But I think from what I can see, you've taken that sort of an experience to make something out of yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
joining the army, like doing what you do right now, where you're in business. um, you're reaching out because I don't know, because as I say, most people ask me. I've had this question thrown to me at many times. Is it for money? Okay. Now, money makes problems easier. Okay, but it doesn't remove your problems. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what's very important, when, for example, as I say, if I go back to your story and so on, it is heartbreaking. It is whatever drew you to do that is heartbreaking. But if you're able to not continue in that, let's say, track, okay, which you haven't, you've chosen a different track, that track that actually has developed you as a person, has developed you, or your business mind. Yeah, you're in business now. You've got a business with a couple of people that you have managed to attract to come and work with you, or the vice versa. It doesn't really matter. But what matters is the path and the direction that we choose. And if things were easy, I think everybody would do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think in life, people, it's a choice. All right, go and get a job. Okay,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Exactly.
Or if you feel that you can actually do something better because you feel you can do it, and you're able to, let's say, it's all about learning, my man. All right, okay,
Yeah.
it's all about learning. If you are open to learning, which I can clearly see you are, then basically life changes a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to just say one thing. When I did my MBA in 2006, I thought that was the hardest business degree you can do, and it is really hard. It's ridiculously hard. All right, 12 months, very intense, many different exams, and it just goes on and on. When I joined Dojo, I thought I knew everything. All right, why? Because I had a business degree, I had a business for about 20 years. I knew how to grow it. I knew how to reach. I knew how to sell. Yeah. But I didn't go to Dojo thinking, that's it. I know everything. I'm just going to do my own thing, right? Why? Because I met some incredible people in the process. All right. I was open to learning, and I was open to, let's say, new ideas, new concepts. Yeah. And I guess, as I say, in life, you can choose a path. You can choose a path. For sure, you can choose a path.
Yeah.
But and there's no shortcut. We shortcut if you're lucky enough to win the lottery. Even then, that sounds scary, because if you were faced with multi-million pounds in your pocket tomorrow, I'm sure you could buy everything, but it would still not satisfy you. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And one thing too as well that I noticed, as you probably know, I think I've told you already, maybe I don't know if I did or not, but I just recently got back on the internet like 14 months ago. So I was completely digitally anonymous. And so
What?
yeah, it's crazy, man.
Wow.
It's partly part of my unfair advantage is that I learn like really, really fast. So yeah, I understood that the wave is content, and the ideal of creating a funnel, building an audience, sending them into community, and then eventually selling them a product after you educated them over the course of time. Yeah, so this is like basically was a light bulb for me. And then also I saw that there was roughly around 5 billion people on the internet currently. And so that market, so basically by 2030 the projection is about 90 to 95% of the people will be on the internet. So the pie continues to increase over the course of time. And the more and sooner that you put out content, the more content you put out over a 5, 6, 7 year time span, you establish authority. And that
Correct.
authority compounds. So it's easier to create that funnel and that online presence to then streamline that into your business. So once I understood those aspects, I immediately, start putting out content literally like the next day, and I'm just learning as I go. I actually ended up scaling a YouTube channel. I had a travel channel, and I scaled it up in about 10 months from 0 to 2,000 subscribers. And it just recently got canceled for whatever reason. And this is actually why I like decentralized technologies a lot, man, because to de-risk a bit the power and the stranglehold of a lot of these Web2 companies, like Facebook and, YouTube and, some of them that they have, Instagram and so on. And so for me, it made sense to, try to put out content as much as rapidly as I could to try to get my online presence out. And it's been a long journey, and I've been learning a lot along the way. Along the way too, I met my girlfriend. She's been helping me. She actually she does digital marketing for like companies and stuff. So she's been helping me a whole lot on that, and I'm really thankful for her too as well, for all the things that she's been able to teach me. But that's part of that being able to be humble to want to learn. And I'll learn from anybody. I don't care if you're 15, 16 years old. I had a 16-year-old teach me about TikTok. I didn't know that people were making money on there and people were trafficking a whole bunch of business through there. I didn't know, because I just wasn't on the internet. But you got to be humble enough to learn. And also another thing too that I wanted to mention, because you brought up, you brought up, I think in the founder story about how you always kind of knew you were an entrepreneur. And I can kind of a little bit relate a little bit, because I had a business when I was like 13, 14, something like that. And so I saw that people had a high demand for candy. And
Sure.
so I had a little bit leftover Halloween candy, and I was selling the candy then because I just left it. I was like, look, maybe if I position myself by getting free candy during Halloween,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Imagine. You already know how this story is gonna go.
Sure, man.
Yeah,
Sure, man.
exactly.
Sure.
So what I did was I positioned myself by basically extracting as much free candy as I could during Halloween. Didn't eat like 90% of it, only ate like a small amount. Then I started reselling it once Halloween died off and people were thirsty still for candy because there was still a demand, but there was little supply. After the supply had ran out, and then I was selling it at school, and I was upcharging a lot. And then once the candy ran out, I was then going back to the store and getting more candy, to create that cycle and that flywheel.
Resupply,
Yeah, but then my principal found out. So then, African parents, they just weren't having it. So that was the end of that story. But I was making a good amount of money, bro. I was making like about $200 to $300 a month, something like that.
Well, listen, I'm happy kind of you picked up on that, because as I say, I at that age that you are talking about, I think I was 14, and it's this age where kids start having parties, and everyone's trying to be cool and all that business. And I just realized that, for example, growing up where I was born, for example, at 14, you don't really go to a pub. Yeah, there's no places for 14-year-olds. Yeah. There was no McDonald's or anything like that, because today my kids can always have a McDonald's. I don't know, but I realized that there are parties being thrown at home. All right, so somebody would invite like 20 kids at home, and they'd had some, I don't know, some juice and whatever, candy and stuff like that. All right, there must be a better way. So that's when I actually went to this pub. Okay. And I said to the owner, can I have a chat with you about a party? And he said, oh, you need to ask your parents and whatever. I said, that's fine. We lost our parents. Okay. But, what if I could fill this place up? Yeah. And he said, if you bring me, let's say 50 kids in here, they all buy a drink or something. He said, you can have the best table and you can have drinks all night. Okay.
Oh,
I said,
wow.
well, that must be cool. And then just as I was actually about to say, I'll take that, all right? He said, and I'll also give you like £20, okay? At that time.
Oh, wow.
So having 20, I mean, in today's money, having £20 in your pocket, the best table in the pub, and also free drinks all night. Hey, man, do you know that cool kids corner, whatever they were talking about? Yeah, I made it my own. And I sold my first party to one of my best friends. I went to him straight from that pub. I said, your birthday's coming up. I said, I can get you a venue. We just have to get all these kids in that place. They all bring their own money. They all buy their own stuff, and you get some gifts as well. But I said it's going to cost you a little bit. So I managed to sell that party, or that was being paid by the venue. I managed to sell that party to a friend of mine for 50. Okay. so in one afternoon, I had 70, let's say in today's money, that's true because I live here. I had £70 in my pocket. Okay.
Wow.
And then
That's amazing.
One night, great time, great party, free drinks, paid nothing for it. And I still had 70 quid in my pocket. All right.
Wow.
And then I thought, maybe I should try and replicate this. So I said to the dude I said, are you happy? And he was like, whoa, man, this is the best thing ever. I didn't even think I could, get a party like this. And then the word started spreading like fire. Okay. That there is this guy who could get you a venue. It's like, it just became, well, people will walk to me. Birthdays happen every day, my man. So they'd walk to me and say, could you? I've got 20 people I want to sort of celebrate with. Do you think they'd let us in? I'd go back to the same guy. I said, well, I don't have 50, but I have 20. He said, well, I'll give you half of the show, half of the area. So you stay there, noise, whatever you want. It was just something I had to do to, as I say, it felt like I could do it, right? It felt like I could have my own money in my pocket. I didn't have to ask my dad, didn't have to ask my mom for nothing. And, all I had to do, as far as home's concerned, is just make sure that you do good at school. That was something that there was no compromise.
Yeah.
But, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you can sit down one day, look at what you've done, no matter how old you are, look at what you've done so far, and you will find out, I truly believe, if you look deep enough, dig deep, and you will find what you're really good at.
Okay. This is true, and I agree. But do you think whatever you're good at can always be monetized?
I truly believe whatever you're good at, some people need your skill. Okay. Now, knowing how to monetize is another matter. Okay. Because you talked about funnels, you talked about community building, you talked about productization. Yeah, you have to create a product. Yeah. So now, do people do today what I was doing at 14? A lot. A lot of people do that. Even in today's world, there are people who will organize the best venue for you in London. They'll give you the best hospitality you can think of. They'll put you in any club you want. They'll put you in football clubs and whatever for as long as you pay. Right. Mm-hmm. Now, if you when I started my consultancy, I started doing something. So I finished my MBA and then I joined this consultancy house, and the owner, which I'm still in touch with, many years later, we spent a week together working at this client site, and he said, Arsim, he said, I can see you've got a very interesting skill, and you can so easily make people so comfortable around you, and you can sell. Okay. And he said, you're doing it without even noticing it. And he said, let me just change your role. So now you don't actually work in delivery. We go and chase customers. Okay, great. So, it went from being something to what I was doing, which was program delivery, to actually now selling consultancy. And then for a year I did that, and I did that very successfully, right? So I was winning work for this company. And then a point came where I thought, you know what, I could do this for myself. Okay. See that little boy in me, all right, that was making money when I was 14, up until I came to UK, which was 17. I realized that what I was doing, I could do it. But the question was, will somebody buy it? Yeah. Now, what you've just asked is, can everything be commercialized? I truly believe everything can be commercialized, because somehow, all right, the way we're wired, I don't know, there is always somebody out there who needs your help. The biggest issue is knowing how to communicate what you do. Yeah. Knowing how to frame that, how to make it as an offer, because people don't buy products and services, they buy benefits, right?
This is absolutely true. Yeah.
So, you could have the best product, the best service. If you can't describe how that solves, what does it solve? Yeah. Or how does it help? Then no one's going to buy it. So when I set up my my consultancy house, I thought, what can I do? All right, I can do go to market. Okay. But what kind of products can I do go to market? I realized I could do everything. All right. No matter where it is, because, remember, people buy from people, not from technology. And you only needed to understand just enough so that you can start a conversation. Yeah. And then once you start the conversation, you can build that rapport, with a customer and stuff like that. And when the crunch comes, you bring somebody who's an expert in that field. Yeah. I know, this is what I pitched. I pitched to my first customer. I said, let me take this to market for you, but I will invite you to come in at this point. Yeah. Once I've built the first rapport, and I'll come and close it. Okay. Because you make a first introduction, and that's great. So people could call me, that have a conversation with me and stuff like that. And then you build an expert, and they explain exactly what happens and how it happens. Okay.
Yeah.
But you still have to close it.
Can you give me just a walkthrough briefly? Because when you started, to help commercialize these products, can you give me just like a step-by-step of how you would do it, and what was your angle? Because you didn't really know the product better than the actual business and the person that was selling it. So how did you do it, man? Like, I'm just very curious. Like,
Hey bro, I'm just trolling is something that will not just challenge your perspective, but also touch your heart and soul. It's a book that defies convention, blending art and literature into a thought-provoking masterpiece. A reflective piece of provocative art that tackles societal constructs from angles you've never considered. Hey bro, I'm just trolling delves into the very essence of our existence. It questions the technology that surrounds us, challenges our notions of beauty, stares unflinchingly into the eyes of death, and questions the boundaries of freedom. It scrutinized the educational system that molds our very future. This book is a journey, an exploration of shared human experience, and it's a work of art that refuses to be confined by tradition. It's a canvas painted with words, a melody of thought, and a testament to the power of creativity in a world dominated by algorithms and data. Visit moonboycapitalventures.com and get your hands on Hey Bro, I'm Just Trolling today. It's not just a book, it's a movement. Now let's jump back into the show.
Okay. No, I mean, spot on. Research is key. Okay. Whatever you're doing, be sure to know that, information exists. Yeah. So first, for example, my first client, I sat down with them. They were a paper scanning company, right? So they were digitizing records. And I sat down and I said, could you give me let's say, a very simple presentation, but in simplest terms, what do you actually provide? All right. Don't give me a sales pitch because I don't need that. Yeah. Tell me what you do. All right. So I spent, for example, the first 2 weeks understanding what they were doing. Then I picked up, now in any industry, every industry has its own language. Okay. If you're in publishing, people say the certain words which don't exist in banking. Yeah. If you're in banking, they don't exist in publishing or in law or medicals and stuff like that. So I picked up a few words from paying attention, and I thought, okay, so let me just question, the owners. What does this actually mean? And they were saying, oh yeah, and like OCR in whatever print.
Jargon.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me. So I started picking up some of these words, and then I thought I got enough. Yeah. Then I turned around to the market, and I asked them actually, how do they sell today? And they said mainly through tenders, which was a biggest, let's say, thing to hear from me. All right. Why? Because in tenders, people go and display what they want to buy. Right. So luckily, I was trained a little bit in tenders before I started my own consulting business. I know how tenders work, how they are initiated, how they become tenders, and how you win. So I started digging for something called pins. Okay. And this is pure Google search. I was looking for pins in each country. Pins means prior information notice. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what prior information notice is, you could have, for example, Department X of country Y from government so and so is intending to buy a service in this direction. Okay. Now, most governments have to issue pins. They can never go launch the tender without issuing a pin first. Pin happens usually 6 months before the tender is issued.
Wow.
So
okay.
I found out enough, and then I went and found out so many pins, okay, which the company knew nothing about. Yeah. So I presented that back to the customer as leads. Okay. I said, I have identified country X. This department is actually in the market for this, and they will be going to tender in about 6 months' time. Now that's where my job really starts. Yeah. So the client approved that the leads were good. Okay. They were happy to invest to chase these leads. So now it was about making my first connection. So find out who the person or persons in that department is or are, and reach out first via email, or if they're on LinkedIn, you can say a little hi, and then you can say, I'm from such and such company. I noticed that you're thinking about this. Can we come and chat to you at no obligation? Yeah. So that always resulted in me being able to have to go and visit another country, visit a customer, shake hands, and just do what I do best. Okay.
Yes.
Have a chat, man. All right.
Yeah.
So have a conversation, and then I'd say, listen, I'm going to go back. I'm going to send you some material because there's so much going on in this field. It's no obligation, just for your own good. Okay. So I'd furnish that to them, and then keep in touch. Okay.
Yeah.
But 9 out of 10 times they kept coming back to me and asking questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they were asking is, well, we thought you could do this, but apparently we found out you could also do that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I then offered, you have to be, let's say, friendly, I guess. So I always offered that I'd bring an expert. Again, you don't have to buy it from us, but let me show you what you could really do. What we were doing is we were influencing the tender requirements. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not illegal. Why? Because they were learning from us what's possible. And then when the tendering world starts or the process starts, you can't really talk. There are very strict rules after the tender is issued. There are very specific windows when you can ask questions. But what was really interesting for me is by the time that tender was issued, I knew 90% what the requirements are.
Wow.
Okay.
That's impressive, man.
Now, who do you think wins? Somebody who knows 90% of the requirements, or somebody who sees the document for the first time and they think this is what they're aiming for?
Of course, the 90%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I have a very high success rate in bidding, because I was able to invest my time early enough to build the rapport, build the relationship. And when they saw my offer, it was like music to their ears. They were reading everything they wanted to have and more.
Yeah. Yeah, man,
So
it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
So
Yeah.
that's what I've done all my life, 20 years. In industries I have no knowledge about. Okay.
So how did you? Because did you have issues? Because I have a consulting firm too as well,
Yeah.
right? But I have issues with scaling because usually a lot of times people are buying you,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
kind of hard. Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
the $1 million question. It's true. Most people buy you, but over time it changes. Okay. And
How?
you can instigate that you're growing. Okay. Now, if you're constantly waiting for someone, yeah, they don't want to let you go. All right.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
that they feel that's it. All right. They found, they know how to go about it and stuff like that. But I started introducing project support. Okay. And that means I was winning a project, and they had to go and find subject matter experts. Yeah. So I started building a subject matter expert database, and every time I won a project, I was able to submit a couple of other people from my own team. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
And
That's smart.
that way I was involved in winning or running campaigns, but I was also in one shape or another involved in the delivery of the project as well, through my own consultants. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that allows it to scale.
So with the whole Block Dojo, and then with LIBRARO and everything, how did you meet your co-founder? That's just one thing I didn't get to ask you.
This actually, my co-founder and I are childhood friends. We have been
Okay.
we go back many years ago. We both lived in Pristina. We both had that magazine together that I mentioned, the student magazine. We came here a few months. I came here first, and then he came a few months later, and then we've remained. Although professionally speaking, we were in different, let's say, directions. He became a diplomat with an embassy, and I've been in the commercial world, but we kept in touch. We meet very often. We have a good rapport, and yeah, you need to cultivate friendship. You don't find it.
Okay, so what is he good at, and what are you good at? How do you
So
complement each other?
that's a very good point. So, for example, when he was a diplomat, he was a number 2 in the organization. So he was a deputy ambassador, and in the context, usually the ambassador is a political appointee. So, the government decides to put you in charge, but there is a political angle. Now, my co-founder was running the show. Okay, so he basically all the operations, everything that the embassy had to do was doing protocols, all that stuff. He was in charge of it. So when we talk about LIBRARO, that's what we have. I'm the guy out there waving my hands. Okay, he's in the back end. He's putting stuff together. All right, so he does, let's say, operations, and I do the commercial.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful synergy. Because I wonder what challenges have you, because neither of you guys are technical background, right?
No, as I said, that is a challenge in itself. I'm not going to lie. Every single day we are We are learning something new. We are challenged with something which is very technical. Just today, actually, I can mention one thing. So, LIBRARO platform is almost ready to go, but we found or encountered a problem this morning where we wanted people to sign up with Google, like, just to make it easier. You click, you select. I mean, it happens every day. So we submitted to Google for approval to do that. And because we're a platform, a community platform, and so on and so forth, they threw back 3 very technical questions, which I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So, but luckily we are surrounded by some amazing people, and so on and so forth. So I was able to reach out to one of my advisors today, and then one of his guys basically got in touch. He rang me and he said, listen, you need to write something like this. You write it, I'll review it for you, and then we do it. And then we write a script, because I also have to record myself, put the link on YouTube, exactly explain what I'm doing, why am I asking for an access like that. And then you have to resubmit them. So as I say, it's just like mind-boggling things, but I'm here. I don't sit here and say, oh my God, what do I need to do? You need to build your network. I have got access to a lot of tech people anyway. So if it wasn't going to be my advisor today, I was going to reach out to someone who actually, does this thing for a living. So they would sort it out for me. And there's no free lunch, right? You have to remember, whatever you do, it's not about, let's say, putting you in debt about something. But when you ask something from someone, be sure to know that they will turn around and ask, for some sort of a favor in return. And that's how I cultivate a network. I'm always, there. I will always be, people send me a text in the middle of the night. If it's urgent, I will respond. I don't care.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, because a lot of CEOs, even myself, man, people get pissed all the time and be like, "Yo, why aren't you responding? Why aren't you replying?" It's like,
Yeah.
you got to understand, we're overwhelmed with so much influx from inboxes to WhatsApp, from me, Telegram too as well. It's absolutely insane. And so, but I try my best to respond. I always respond back. Sometimes it may take a couple of weeks, but I do my best.
Man, I mean, just a piece of advice. I think if you respond, it shows a sign of respect that you have.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because the answer does not necessarily have to be what the person was expecting it to be. But the answer of acknowledging something, or the point about acknowledging something with a yes or a no, or I can't, or I can, or I will introduce you to someone, that's all that matters. Okay. So much so that the other day, actually, I still do some consultancy work here and there. And this government client asked me the other day if I could put a link with them and a major company here in the UK. And I said, yeah, I can do that. All right. I spent about half an hour scrolling through LinkedIn, found out all of the key people, and shot them all a message. Okay. Didn't get a response because they were very senior people. But I realized through my network, I knew someone who knew one of these guys. Yeah. So I reached out to him. I said, could you please ask this dude to speak to me, because it's government X. They want to ask you about something like this. And guess what? Ta-da, I got a response. And the guy says, I'm very sorry, really busy, all ears. When can we have a chat? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as I say, you can sit there and say, oh, I couldn't do it. Or you can sit there. But that guy that I've just mentioned is my network. So he's not in debt with me, but I have actually done something for him in the past that he felt like, let's say, a sign of respect. I told him exactly who I was trying to reach out to. Yeah. I said, I'm just trying to reach out to this dude. Very simple. This is the reason. If you could just ask him to respond to me, boom, that's it.
Yeah. So, LIBRARO, right? Because as you know, we talked about this in the past. I was building a very similar platform, with Readable. And then I ended up realizing, because I applied for the dojo, and then the dojo like, hey, there was a guy in the previous cohort. He just got like a raise. I don't know if can I speak about it? It's public, right? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So you got
Sure.
the raise for like what, 2.5 million, I think.
2 million pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, £2 million, and
Yeah.
yeah, they were telling me basically about you and exactly what you were doing. And I was like, oh my god, this is like what I was trying to do. Was trying to basically link the underserved manuscripts with a whole bunch of different readers,
Yeah.
and because it was a huge market for this, because I saw the same problem, and I felt underserved too, as well as an author myself, which I'm eventually going to upload my book onto your platform now too, as well, as to
You should
support.
do.
Yeah, and get other authors too as well, as to support, man. But it's crazy because we literally, if I didn't reach out to the dojo and reached out to another incubator, we literally could have been competitors, like in another.
Sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, it's actually absolutely insane how life works. But anyways, I ended up pivoting to listenable, and then I ended up pivoting again to fast track. But can you just walk me through why you started the platform, and what bottlenecks you faced, and how you were able to achieve the 2.5 or 2 million raise with Enchain?
sure.
Yeah.
So why did we start LIBRARO? As I say, when I was 17, me and my co-founder, we actually had a magazine, a student magazine together. We were producing that. Um, I love books. I love reading. I read a lot. I used to travel for work a lot, and for me, it was getting to the airport. You buy a book, get on a plane. Sometimes a short flight, sometimes a ridiculously long flight. Uh, but there are some books that I buy and enjoy. There are some books I buy, read the first 3 chapters and dropped. Okay, that just would not, grasp me. Uh, so I tried to write a book in 2017. I sent it to an agent. I was very proud of it. I was very excited. It just didn't go anywhere. All right, just it just went into this abyss. All right, I was just like lost in the sky in a dark place somewhere. But I'm curious by nature, and I thought, what, I'm actually going to see what happens. So went to them, inquired about it. They actually openly asked me. I could go and see them in their office. It wasn't about my book. I didn't reach out to say, hey guy, I sent you a book, you never responded. I just said, I do some research here. But I got my answer immediately, because the whole place was full of manuscripts. And,
Yeah.
I've been in technology for a good number of years now, and I know technology has solved so many problems. Um, and I thought, there must be a way of doing something different. And this is when Marin and I, my co-founder, started thinking about the possibilities, what could be done, and so on and so forth. Blockchain was not in our mind. I'm not going to lie. But then, kind of over the years, blockchain became more, let's say, attractive. There's like all over the place, all over the news, mainly associated with crypto and so on and so forth. But there are other people that I was working with, my clients, who were actually utilizing blockchain from 2013. So I realized there was a place for it. Yeah. And then it so happened that, as I said, one of the guys that I used to work with in Dojo, one of the managers, we were used to work together in McKinsey, and reached out to Jay. I said, hey, what are you up to? And he's like, oh, I'm in charge of this thing called Block Dojo. He was the managing director. And I said, can I pitch this to you? And because from 2017, I never stopped working on it, but I had so many other projects going on, which, it was like I was in a flight thinking, one day I'm going to make this happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I pitched it to him. He really liked it. And then he said, well, why don't you, I need to bring somebody else from the deal flow for you to listen to you. And so he arranged a meeting with this lady, Kelly, and we pitched it to her, and she said, oh my God, I love the idea. And she said, well, I'd love to have you here, but we have got another round, which, you meet the exec team, and they decide who goes through, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of was building up, and up until I got the actual yes, all right, it was, I'm used to winning, all right, and I knew I'm going to have to get to that point. And it was stage after stage after stage, but we managed to get to the end, and then we got an offer, and that was when basically the whole, let's say, decision to leave what I was doing to focus on LIBRARO only was not easy. Okay. But anyway, I made a decision, decided to join. I joined in January, but I joined with an intention of I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm going to build what was, I swear to God, a 2-page slide deck.
You dog, man. I don't know how you did that, but you pulled it off, man.
So I managed to push it, and we basically 3 months we built a business model, we built some financial model, a basic. No, well, did we have an MVP? No, we didn't have an MVP. We had a very nice deck about about what we were doing and stuff like that, and then I just kept pitching it and reaching out to let's say investors and so on. I managed to get an offer from a seed investor, an SEIS investor, which was very, very interesting, very quickly. And but it was actually what I was asking for, which at the time was 250,000. And then I had this thing in mind: I'm going to get 250,000. I'm going to go and build something little, and then I'm going to take it to market, and I'm going to go and raise more money, and then I'm going to do this. But I'm not, from background, I'm not used to working with small numbers, and I was struggling with the idea of 250,000. Okay, because it doesn't take you very far. I mean, it's good money. It's a good investment. So as I said, I had my own game. You have to have your own game. So when I thought I'm going to, let's say, position this to Enchain, I started digging into their patent book and looking at what they were actually doing and stuff like that. And I reached out to the senior managers, asked if I could pitch to them but my intention was actually, I was saying, build me a platform for equity. I didn't really want anything else. Okay.
Yeah.
And they really liked my enthusiasm, my energy, my drive, my vision for it and stuff like that. And then it started with a meeting with someone, to a meeting with somebody else, to a meeting with somebody else. And then after about 3 layers of management, the guy said, "Hey man, we all like this. It's an amazing concept, but we don't invest in companies at your stage. However, we want you to meet our group CEO with an intention of doing something different." And when they said something different, I knew they had something else in mind. And so we were invited to pitch to the CEO of this major company at his office in Mayfair, and at 5 p.m. All right, this was like after his whole day of whatever. And at 5 p.m. he said, "Yeah, go on." He first trashed it all. All right, he said, "This doesn't work. You're barking at the wrong tree. You're approaching it wrong." And it's like, what the hell, man? All of your team just told me they love it. Now you're basically trashing it. But it was his own strategy.
Yeah.
He said, "I like the concept, okay, and I like you. But he said, you're going to have to be prepared to do something drastically different. Okay, it's not pivoting, but he said a much larger scale." I was like, "Man, I'm all ears. All right, what have you got in mind?" And then after 2 hours at 7 p.m., he said, "I want to do this, but I want to propose something like this." And he said, "We'll do a 2 million deal, but it's going to have to happen like this." And I said, it was 7 p.m. And he said, "We're going to have to do it today." Okay.
Whoa.
And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, I have got, I want to do this today." So at 7 p.m., he had his whole team there, right? It was me and Arian. And he was, "So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask my team to prepare an offer." Like, what, at 7 p.m.? He said, "Yeah." So he basically made an offer on a, let's say, high level sort of a discussion. And then he said, "Why I'll get my driver. You can go to this place. Give me a couple of hours and we'll turn up the offer in writing." And so we were basically outside his office at about 7:30 p.m. or something like that. And then his driver picks us up and he takes us to this very nice bar, I guess. And then we're sitting there, man. Okay. So, just me and my co-founder, we sat there, got a drink, didn't really know what the hell was going on. And then it became 9 o'clock. He didn't turn up. He said, give me an hour or so. And we were thinking maybe he just changed his mind. Maybe we should just go home. But we were in central London. It was okay. We were just, having a couple of beers. And then one of his associates turned up. Yeah. A junior guy, but very smart. And he said, oh, yeah, no. He said, he's coming. Don't worry. Okay. And at about 11 p.m., okay, he turns up with his lawyer and he's another partner. And basically, he just he brought in front of me this 30-page document, which was his offer. Okay.
Yeah.
And he said, you can sign it now. You can sign it until about 5 o'clock in the morning. But if you don't sign it tonight, then we can't do a deal. So I took that document. I went in the corner there. I have got a business degree, so I did law. Business law, and what I was looking for was anything that I felt may put us into some sort of a difficulty. Yeah. And I couldn't really see anything wrong with the deal, so I sat in a corner, came back to my my co-founder, and we had a little chat. And then I asked if we could change something because there was something which I wasn't quite comfortable with, and he said, "Yeah," he said, "we can change that." All right. So basically, he made a scribble on this Word document, but he has his computer, his team had his computer there, and they just changed what we were trying to do. And then at about midnight, okay, I still have a picture of it. At about midnight, I said, we'll sign it. Okay. And we were in this place in London, very nice place. Anyway, we agree, we shake hands. And then his lawyer, who was still in the office, he sends the one of these DocuSign whatever things with the copy of the contract. Yeah. And it was the framework contract that they had put in place, and the offer was there. We are going to do this at a valuation of X, and you are going to do this. And at about just after midnight, we basically digitally signed the deal, and that was it. The next day,
man,
all I had to do was work with his team, and
it sounds like a movie.
I tell you, I mean, if I write a book on LIBRARO, I'm going to write about my experience with building LIBRARO, okay, and especially that event. Because in all fairness, you only think it does happen in movies, but there are several people involved in that process. And I still have a picture of when I actually docu-signed, which was at 12:06.
Wow, man! How did you feel nervous at all?
Not so much. For one reason, because kind of in the line of work that I lived in, there was a lot of, let's say, deal making. Okay. And deal making never happens in office hours, really. It always happens sometime, somewhere, whatever, some ridiculous place. So not from that respect. Okay. The only thing I was anxious about was I read it and reread it. So I read 60 pages.
I was going to say, how did you, skimming through 30 pages worth of legal paperwork?
Yeah, it's what I was looking for. I was looking for something which I wanted to make sure that we're not being stitched up. And again, we talk about network. As I say, I was looking for. I had seen so many commercial contracts in my life. I was trained, for example, from clients, from legal teams, what to look for. So it wasn't really, as I said, that wasn't my biggest worry. My biggest worry was, for example, any special conditions around shares and stuff like that. That's what you have to worry about. Yeah. And I read it again, and then basically shook hands, and then boom, what landed in my inbox was the contract.
Did you have any imposter syndrome?
No, not really.
Not really, huh?
No, not
Yeah,
really.
so and so with LIBRARO,
Hmm.
for for the audience too as well, what benefit does it actually give for the authors specifically, and what benefit does it give for the readers?
Well, let's put it this way. I think, I mean, we've done extensive research with authors, and we still are, by the way. We never stopped that part. Um, Writing is considered to be the easiest part of your book writing journey, because writing a book easy. Getting an attention or getting the attention of an agent is a struggle. Nobody gets an attention. Nobody gets a response because and you can't blame them. Honestly, the amount of work that people are writing, the amount of manuscripts that they're writing and sending versus the amount of agents, it just doesn't add up. Yeah. So what we're hoping to do is, as I said, for the first time, rather than keep we all have a book. I truly believe everyone has a story. Like I've just explained right now what happened with LIBRARO. I could turn that into a story. I mean, I could turn my life into a story. I could turn something that happened to me, whatever. Um, Now, I want to give people, authors, writers, an opportunity to, rather, from keeping their manuscripts locked away in their computers, or I don't know, printouts or whatever, bring them online. Okay, the world is now fully connected. You mentioned earlier 5 billion people being online. Yeah,
Yeah.
5 billion people are not out there all looking to buy potatoes. Yeah, or a computer. I mean, people go online for various reasons. Some people just go out and read. Yeah, and the reader. There is enough data to we can see now that the reading online is increasing very rapidly. The rate is increasing incredibly well. Yeah. So, I'm just trying to connect these two worlds for people who are looking to read, and people who actually can write or should write or have written. Yeah. So by connecting these two worlds, I'm hoping that, we can help authors. As my main aim is to help them build a fan base. Okay. Today, if you don't have a community, if you don't have a fan base, nobody really knows you. There's so much going on, but through LIBRARO you will be able to build a fan base. You will be able to have people read, and it feels good, by the way. If you've ever written anything, it feels good when somebody says, I read your article. Okay, it's just a feel good factor. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Whereas in here, for example, even if you don't, I mean, we can't promise everyone will be successful and published, but my aim is to put as many people or authors who deserve a chance to be, let's say, published, through this community engagement process, and that's my aim. On the flip side of it, we also have the industry. I mean, we are a business; we have to make money. But we have also witnessed, and actually, we were welcomed by the industry with our approach because today they keep investing. They are a business. They're not for charity. They have to make money. They employ thousands and thousands of people, and they keep investing in books that don't sell. And it's a very, let's say, demotivating factor, both from the author perspective and from the publisher perspective, that maybe it's such a great book, but nobody knows about it. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to solve. That's my mission. And ultimately, my goal is to discover the next Harry Potter.
No, that's amazing, man. Hopefully, maybe I'll be the next Harry Potter. I don't know.
Man,
But
let the public decide.
yeah, absolutely, man. And do you think that with the authors, because will they have like a print on demand sort of feature to where perhaps that you could then ship the book? Like, actually, is that something that you're looking to do down the pipeline, or is it just going to
Uh,
be all digital?
no. For us, it's only digital. As I say, for us, we're just a community platform connecting authors with readers directly. If people get, let's say, super popular or popular on our site, they end up in front of the publishers. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
And when if you picked up a lot of attention from readers, that means there are people who would buy a book. Okay, so tomorrow, if you have, let's say, 10,000 followers or 10,000 likes on your book, and we have potentially 10,000 customers. So when that book becomes available, we can inform those 10,000 people that such and such book that you really enjoyed reading is now available to buy here, and and stuff like that. So you can engage through that cycle. But our intention at this point in time is not really to become a publisher or a
Yeah.
printing
Yeah.
house. We're basically a matchmaker.
Is it live now?
The platform should be going live in the coming days.
Okay.
What we're doing right now is we have built a wait list, so we are reaching out to our, let's say, people who have shown interest from early days that they would like to become part of this, and we will be putting some content there, and then kind of launching it properly, because the platform can be live, but if it doesn't have anything to read, then there is no point. And
Okay, perfect.
yeah.
So for someone that, like an author like me, for instance, like how would I get informed? How would I know when the launch is going to be? How would I be able to upload my book? How
So
would that work?
we are in the process right now of closing our seed round, and the intention is we have created a very detailed marketing campaign with all the messaging, all the let's say media platforms that we want to use for promoting LIBRARO. Our campaign is built around brand awareness rather than conversion, because it's such a simple model. We're solving a very simple problem, I would say. Well, major problem in a simple way, I would say. Um, so we're building our marketing campaign towards brand awareness, and so the people will be able to see. But we will start with authors because we want content, and we will be targeting authors through social media channels and so on and so forth, so that they can bring their content to LIBRARO. And once we build a bit of a, let's say, a war chest,
Yeah.
then we can target readers. The intention is come and read for free. We have, as with everything else, there's competition in the market, but our competitors are, let's say, a subscription-based reading website where you have to pay a monthly fee
Yeah.
if you want to read. With us, actually, we don't charge for reading at all. If
Yeah.
anything, we will be rewarding you with our, let's say, we have an award token
Yeah.
that the more time you spend with us, the more you read, the more you engage, you can build points that can be converted to let's say vouchers for books for your next book tomorrow with the major publishers and stuff like that. We have already had the green light from all of them that they will convert points that we built into vouchers for your next book. And so yeah, that's the aim. So we are, as I say, it's been an incredible 12-month journey to come to where we are today, and I'm sure it will be an eventful next 12 months. But at least now we're not in a building mode. We are now in entering the building the community world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's
It's the fun part.
exciting. But we have
Yeah.
some incredible marketing people around us, which we were very lucky to have. And then that's basically kind of, I can't wait for the platform to go live to be able to
Yeah.
shout out about it and stuff like that. We're almost there, but not just quite.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. And I have a couple more questions before we go. One
Sure.
one of them is, have you thought about linking perhaps, or will that be a part of it too, as well? You can link your social media profile to scale up your social media profile to increase more engagement, like to streamline
Sure.
the audience too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that is available. That's what we are actually encouraging, because what we want, as I say, we want to spread the word that you can come and read new content for free. It's not about coming and reading the Hamlet or I don't know Shakespeare. We're looking for the next Shakespeare. We're looking
Yeah.
for the next JK. So it's all fresh content. It's all new content, and we're looking for you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so, man. Yeah, I don't
You're
want to
the
show my
next
book.
Shakespeare.
I'm not gonna show my book. I'm not gonna show my book to my audience. But yeah, they can Google it and check it out if they want. But I will be having it on your platform for sure. And the
Thank you.
final question I have is about the blockchain angle again. Could you just specify, just kind of break that down a little bit for the audience so they can understand?
Sure. So why are we using blockchain? I think it's quite an important question. I think blockchain is becoming, let's say, a technology which has now been adopted by many verticals already. A lot of it is associated with finance, which is interesting, but actually, probably LIBRARO is the only concept at the moment in existence which is tackling the publishing in a slightly different way. So, why blockchain? We've got two elements. One is the data integrity that we can provide with blockchain, which today is unmatched with Web 2. So anything recorded on our platform is recorded actually on blockchain. All the interactions, all the let's say all the data that we collect, we cannot tamper with it, right? It just sits there. And that's that data integrity is the most critical part when it comes to our engagement with the industry. Because if I take, let's say, a book to the industry and say I've got 10,000 people liking it, I've not been able to. I cannot make up 10,000 likes, if you know what I mean. I did not buy them. You will be able to see exactly who, when, where, and stuff like that. And then we also have a very interesting element in our concept. Our current investors, who are blockchain specialists, I would say, or in the top 5. We have a patent in there that for the first time, your rights, your IP, will be protected with technology. So this has never been done before in this way. So when you upload your manuscript with us, we will be minting that automatically, within our blockchain. And then that becomes an extra layer of protection, which you did not have before. And so on. So it's IP protection with blockchain. That's very, very exciting. We have actually engaged with both industry and authors about it, and the response was phenomenal, because a lot of people write a book, and it does happen every day. You write a book, and then somebody steals your idea. They recreate the whole story, but it's not original anymore. But it's very difficult to actually challenge it. Yeah. With us, we will provide that extra layer, because you can actually upload everything related to your writing, and we mint it all. Okay.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, actually, when you meet the publishers and so on, they want to see your journey. It's not just about I came to LIBRARO and I became let's say I was discovered. What they want to see is, when did you start writing? They want to see a scribble. So you actually, with our platform, you can upload everything, right? But you select what you want to show.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Man, Arsim, this has been an amazing podcast, man. One of my favorites so far. I got to have you back on and get
Thank
some
you, man.
updates on the borrow, man. Dude,
Thank you so
you're
much.
amazing, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate you a lot, man. We got to do this again sometime. Do you have any closing thoughts, and also where people can find LIBRARO on the internet?
So you can find LIBRARO if you just go to libraro.io. It's there. The link is there. It works. Everything else we haven't quite gone out and shouted about it yet, but it is live. My only remark, I would say, I think I mentioned this during my founder story yesterday at Blog Dojo. I think when you start something or you're embarking on a new journey, I think our brains are wired in a particular way. I truly believe that it's if you start with how I can make this work, you will find a way. If you start with will it work, okay, you're automatically casting doubt over whatever you're doing in your own mind, and let alone the people around you. Because if you have doubts, people will see them. Yeah. If you ask yourself how, you start developing something which is amazing. Your brain starts to think on how to resolve something. Yeah. And then it will even make you ask the right questions. Yeah. But if you go and say to someone, I'm thinking about this, do you think it will work? You're not really convincing me. So when you're pitching, when you're talking to an audience, to an investor and stuff like that, you've got to really sit there and show them how you will make it work. Okay. So
Absolutely.
don't create doubts in your own mind, and don't let other people doubt you just because you instigated it.
Absolutely. We'll leave it off there, man. Arsim, this has been great. Thank you so much, man. I'll leave links down in the show notes for LIBRARO, man. You guys can go check that out. This concludes another great episode of the Mooncast, man, and peace.